In a world where emotions have become a disease, people ignite with rage and turn into monsters right in the middle of an office. But he is the only one who stays calm. Or maybe the most dangerous monster is just better at hiding. When his colleagues start a massacre over warm wine and watermelon with seeds, he doesn't scream, he doesn't fight, he watches. For 30 years, he has kept his rage in chains. But when the hunter becomes the prey, and the entire city turns into an arena to hunt him down, his rationality will no longer be a shield. It will become a weapon. And this insane world will finally see what a true monster of logic looks like. In a world consumed by madness, empowered individuals clash in a chaotic battle for dominance. Yet one man, seemingly immune to the insanity, calmly reads a book amidst the turmoil. He ponders whether being the sole sane person in a deranged world is truly a blessing. For 3 decades, humanity has been afflicted by an emotional illness, losing all control. This affliction rears its head at a simple office party over the most trivial of complaints. Art director Zhang Yanfei erupts in a rage over warm wine and seeded watermelon. His assistant Wu Jingjing matches his fury, turning a minor issue into a screaming match. The argument infects the entire gathering, as the room descends into a pointless, angry brawl. The calm man, concept artist Chang Mo, steps in to mediate, hoping to restore peace. His attempt at diplomacy is met with a swift, sharp impact from the enraged director. The sharp impact echoes through the room, bringing the chaotic brawl to a dead stop. A sudden, stunned silence falls over the party as everyone stares in disbelief. The director's rage flickers, replaced by a dawning, horrified confusion. His face contorts as the madness recedes, revealing the man beneath the fury. Overcome with guilt, the director panics while Chang Mo calmly tries to de-escalate the situation. Wiping blood from his forehead, Chang Mo watches his colleagues attempt to return to normal. His flirtatious colleague, Ye Li, approaches, wryly commenting on his remarkable patience. He explains it's a necessity, hinting that she shares his unique perception of their world. Chang Mo reveals the true source of the madness, a grotesque, pulsating sac where his director's head should be. A flashback shows a young Chang Mo, his childhood innocence shattered by this same horrifying sight. The horrifying vision wasn't just on strangers, it was growing on his own mother's head. He first dismissed it as a grief-induced hallucination following his father's passing. But as his mother's rage intensified, the grotesque sac swelled to a terrifying size. He learned a horrifying truth. Once the sac reaches a critical mass, the consequences are final. This catastrophic event led him to a single, life-altering conclusion: never get angry. Back in the present, another pointless argument erupts between 2 more colleagues. He realizes with dread that Director Zhang's rage sac is swelling to its breaking point. Chang Mo watches silently, weighing his options in the face of imminent disaster. Deciding to intervene, he moves to calm the director, but Ye Li questions his sudden concern. He admits he doesn't care for them personally, but a death in the office would be very troublesome. The director's rage sac finally ruptures, an event Chang Mo deems simply troublesome. He and Ye Li watch impassively as the horrifying transformation begins. Fiery tendrils of pure emotion burst forth, twisting and writhing in the air. The director's body is consumed by the inferno, becoming a headless effigy of fury. Chang Mo's eye reflects the chaotic scene, his expression unreadable as he processes the threat. Raw energy coalesces into a monstrous face of pure, burning hatred. The creature unleashes a powerful roar, blasting the other panicked colleagues off their feet. A terrified colleague stares in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the monstrous being. Yet another, filled with adrenaline, defiantly stands his ground, refusing to be intimidated. The rage-fueled monster lunges toward the defiant man, ready to silence his challenge. The remaining colleagues panic, screaming and scrambling to escape the transformed director. Chang Mo, however, stands frozen, questioning why the director became a monster. This event contradicts his past, making him wonder why his own mother simply died. Ye Li grabs his arm, forcefully pulling him away from the rampaging creature and his thoughts. She explains that a ruptured sac doesn't cause death, but a transformation into an emotional monster. The fiery creature demonstrates this, using its supernatural abilities to vent its boundless fury. Still unable to reconcile this with his past, Chang Mo questions his mother's fate once more. The rage monster unleashes a final powerful roar, its fiery form crackling with energy. Suddenly, its head implodes in a shower of dark matter, its power vanishing in an instant. The director's lifeless body crumples to the floor, the monstrous threat abruptly eliminated. The other colleagues are left bewildered, only comprehending that the director's head seemed to explode and the fire vanished. Chang Mo realizes with a start that ordinary people are completely blind to the monstrous reality he perceives. Yilai explains that they couldn't see the director's transformation, nor the other emotional monster that consumed him. She then reveals the grim truth about his mother. She too transformed, only to be devoured by another entity. This devastating revelation shatters Changmo's understanding of his past, finally explaining his mother's true end. Yili corrects herself, adding a crucial and even more terrifying layer to the explanation. She clarifies that his mother became prey for someone who can consciously control their own emotional monster. These powerful individuals are directly linked to their monstrous manifestations, using them as extensions of their will. A trail of residual energy cuts through the oblivious crowd, pointing directly to the unseen puppet master. A smug, well-dressed man is revealed, his fiery aura marking him as the one who orchestrated the director's demise. A flashback reveals the smug man was once Changmo's childhood neighbor, Li Ge. Yili confirms that his former neighbor has since become a powerful and influential figure. She exposes his double life, a corporate VP by day, a master of a monstrous entity by night. His twisted method is laid bare. He infects others with rage, waits for them to transform, and then devours them for power. The entire office party was nothing more than a carefully orchestrated hunt, with everyone inside as potential prey. Yili continues, her investigation having uncovered an even more personal connection. She delivers the final, soul-crushing blow. His mother was Li Ge's very first victim. Changmo's world shatters as he learns Li Ge intentionally drove his mother to madness just to feed his own power. His gaze locks onto the distant figure, the man who single-handedly ruined his life. They stand isolated in their shared perception, two sane individuals watching a predator move through an unsuspecting world. Changmo deduces that Li Ge only targets transformed monsters to absorb their power. Believing himself immune to the illness, he concludes he is not a target and turns to leave. Yili questions his lack of revenge, but he dismisses her story, refusing to die for a past he can't confirm. His cold, detached logic gives her pause, seeing a fatal flaw in his reasoning. She shatters his composure with a single question: what makes him so sure he isn't sick? Her words stop him cold, forcing him to face a terrifying and unspoken possibility. He turns back, demanding she explain her deeply unsettling insinuation. With grim certainty, Yili prepares to reveal the most horrifying truth of all. She explains that he isn't just afflicted, he is host to the most powerful emotional entity she has ever seen. The entire office party was a ruse, as Li Ge's true, most coveted prey has always been Changmo. Yili's revelation concludes Li Ge's true target was always Changmo. The predator makes his move, greeting Changmo with a chillingly familiar smile. Li Ge corners his prey, pulling him into their shared, unseen world. Changmo attempts to feign ignorance, but Li Ge's sinister charm is relentless. With a smug grin, he makes a deceptively simple and unsettling request. He then delivers a sudden, forceful kick, trying to provoke the very emotion Changmo has suppressed for years. Changmo is sent sprawling across the floor, the party's attention now fixed on the new conflict. The oblivious colleagues, seeing their friend attacked, erupt in a protective fury. Yili rushes to Changmo's side as he struggles to his feet, shaken but maintaining his composure. Li Ge observes with cold disappointment, realizing that provoking Changmo directly is proving fruitless. With a simple snap of his fingers, Li Ge shifts his focus to new targets. The colleagues who rush to Changmo's defense suddenly smolder with an ominous, fiery energy. Li Ge watches impassively as his power forcibly transforms them into raging emotional effigies. The rest of the party guests scream in terror, mistaking the supernatural event for a simple fire. The predator taunts Changmo, wondering if seeing his friends in peril will finally ignite his rage. Changmo's stoic facade begins to crack as he remembers the kindness these people have shown him. A flashback shows a female colleague playfully offering to introduce him to her younger sister. He recalls her bashful retreat, a moment of genuine warmth in his otherwise isolated life. Another memory surfaces of a male co-worker cheerfully inviting him to join them for lunch. That same man had insisted on paying, a small but meaningful gesture of friendship. From within the inferno, one of his colleagues desperately tries to warn him. Their last conscious act is to urge him to flee before they are completely consumed. In an instant, his friends are gone, leaving nothing but scorched remnants on the floor. Li Ge taunts him, amused by his apparent indifference in the face of such loss. But the predator sees the truth. The immense emotional sack on Changmo's back swells with suppressed rage. Li Ge smirks, deciding to save the truth about Changmo's mother for maximum psychological impact. Changmo remains on his knees, his head bowed as he fights a losing battle against his own emotions. He admits to himself that his calm exterior is a lie, a fragile mask hiding a brewing storm. He remembers a lifetime of enduring the rage of others, from angry bosses at work to aggressive strangers on the street, always forcing himself to remain impassive. Changmo's hand clenches, barely containing a powerful surge of emotion. He restrains himself, his hand relaxing despite the internal turmoil. He reflects on the emotional illness plaguing the world, noting its unintentional nature. A flashback shows his mother's remorseful face after an outburst, mirroring the current situation. He realizes that succumbing to emotion only leads to regret, visualized by chains of rationality. He clings to rationality as his guiding principle, his only defense against the madness. He questions if rationality is still necessary, given the escalating chaos around him. Liga stands amidst the destruction, a symbol of unrestrained emotion. Changmo contemplates transforming into a monster to avenge his mother. He questions his lack of transformation despite his intense anger. Yili urgently warns him that transforming would be a fatal mistake. He reasons that if he can't transform, he has nothing to lose by fighting back. Yili watches his brief flicker of defiance with a look of somber understanding. She prepares to drop another bombshell, explaining that in his current state, it's completely impossible for him to transform no matter how much he wants to. Changmo's head hangs low, his hope of fighting back instantly crushed. A single silent question hangs in the air, born from his utter confusion. Across the room, Liga observes, having patiently waited for this moment of despair. The Predator mocks Changmo's internal struggle, seeing right through his attempt at self-control. Deciding the time for talk is over, Li Ge launches himself forward, wreathed in flames, to deliver a painful lesson. He questions his own internal monologue, a sudden doubt creeping into his mind. The pieces begin to click into place as he reconsiders his entire reality. A flash of insight strikes him, his eyes widening with a startling new theory. The horrifying truth dawns on him. He was never talking to himself. His gaze falls upon Ye Li, who is now surrounded by a strange, otherworldly aura. Glowing particles of blue energy emanate from her, confirming she is not human. She smirks, acknowledging that he has finally uncovered her true nature. Deciding the game is up, she prepares to reveal everything. Ye Li explains that from the very beginning, she has been an entity only he could perceive. Changmo stares in disbelief, noticing her features have subtly, supernaturally changed. Li Ge unleashes a devastating fiery attack, intending to end the confrontation. But Ye Li's explanation continues, revealing the reason he can't transform. The Predator's assault halts abruptly, his face twisting in utter disbelief. She reveals that he was infected long ago, becoming a monster the moment they met. His transformation birthed a unique entity, an emotional monster named Rationality. Behind him, a colossal armored being materializes, bound by countless chains and radiating cold blue energy. Liga stares, completely baffled by this unprecedented monster born of logic and restraint. Changmo kneels, struggling to comprehend how his core principle could manifest as a monster. He realizes he's been a monster all along, questioning why his own power was hidden from him until now. A more pressing question suddenly eclipses all others in his mind. He grapples with her true identity, while she calmly anticipates his flood of questions. She admits the full truth is complex, but reveals his rationality is the most special emotion of all. She explains its ultimate power, the ability to suppress all other emotions, including the Predator's rage. The reason he was blind to his own power, she begins, is a simple principle of their world. With an intense gaze, she reveals the simple, world-altering rule: you can only see what you know. The Predator's shock deepens as he realizes Changmo isn't a slave to his power, but a master. This makes Changmo a puppet master, putting him on the same level as his adversary. His smug confidence evaporates, replaced by the grinding teeth of furious disbelief. In denial, he unleashes the full, fiery might of his own entity, refusing to be challenged by a newcomer. The cold, calculating monster of Rationality squares off against the blazing inferno of rage, preparing for an epic clash. The blazing monster of rage unleashes a devastating strike, only for it to pass straight through the spectral form of Rationality. Ligo's confidence shatters, his face a mask of pure shock as his attack proves utterly ineffective. Ye Li calmly explains that Changmo has yet to master his entity, limiting its influence on the physical world. For now, his monster is just a projection, a shadow of its true self that exists beyond their immediate perception. A dangerous realization dawns on Li Ge, his confidence returning as he understands his foe is not yet a true threat. The fiery monster of rage descends upon Changmo, its master now certain of his victory. Trapped within the inferno, Changmo shows no fear, his gaze sharp and focused as he assesses the situation. The monstrous entity of rage completely engulfs Chang Mo, its immense size promising total annihilation. A cruel smile plays on Li Gei's lips as he relishes the moment before his enemy's destruction. His moment of triumph is cut short, his smile twisting into confusion as he realizes something is terribly wrong. The fiery jaws of rage clamp down, yet Chang Mo stands completely untouched within their grasp. The predator's eye widens in pure disbelief, his mind reeling from the impossible outcome. Yi Lai reveals his lifetime of restraint has forged an incredible resistance to anger, making the attack feel like a mere tickle. His confidence shattered, Li Gei's face contorts into a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. Refusing to accept defeat, the monster of rage coils back, gathering its power for another assault. Trapped but undaunted, he questions his next move, prompting Ye Li to suggest he borrow power from his own entity. A spark of understanding ignites in his eyes as he grasps the true potential of his connection to rationality. As the fiery beast lunges for a final blow, Chang Mo prepares to meet its power with his own. Li Gei watches in stunned fury as his ultimate attack is met by an unexpected force. A cataclysmic explosion of red and blue energy erupts as the cold power of rationality clashes directly with the inferno of rage. The force of the blast sends Li Gei reeling, his mind struggling to accept this impossible turn of events. From the dissipating energy, Chang Mo's silhouette emerges, standing firm against the onslaught. He rises, his hand now encased in a sharp, crystalline armor of pure, cold logic. The borrowed power forms a deadly weapon, pulsing with an intense, calculated energy. A horrified understanding dawns on Li Gei as he realizes Chang Mo has weaponized his own entity. He collapses in defeat, unable to comprehend how a fraction of this power so easily dismantled his monster. Faced with the colossal entity of rationality, the predator's only instinct is to turn and flee for his life. A single decisive stomp from Chang Mo shatters the floor, cutting off any chance of escape. He launches forward in a blur, unleashing a piercing counterattack with blinding speed. Li Gei glances back, his face a mask of pure terror as he realizes the tables have completely turned. Chang Mo's attack rips through the predator's fiery form, sending explosive shockwaves through the room. The relentless beam of energy sends Li Gei flying, his own power proving no match for this new threat. Chang Mo wonders how his foe can still fight, but Ye Li reveals that emotional monsters are never truly destroyed. Desperate to escape, Li Gei smashes through a window, plummeting towards the street below. Chang Mo follows without hesitation, landing gracefully as his defeated rival scrambles to his feet. The chase leads them to the docks, where a magnificent, brightly lit cruise ship awaits. This is the Emperor of the Sea, a world-class vessel and Li Gei's chosen escape route. The massive ship is anchored just offshore from Donghai City, a beacon in the dark water. Ye Li urgently warns Chang Mo that pursuing his enemy onto the ship is a terrible idea. She explains the ship is a global attraction, currently filled with oblivious tourists, making it a dangerously public battleground. Ye Li explains the Emperor of the Sea is one of the few ships allowed in the polluted Donghai waters. She reveals the ship is controlled by powerful emotion-wielding entities. These entities conduct transactions and offer services aboard the ship. One such service is hunting ordinary people, making the ship a dangerous place. Attacking an entity on this ship would be a direct challenge to its powerful owners. Li Jia is a VIP on the ship, adding another layer of protection. The ship's security is overwhelming, capable of crushing any opposition. Chang Mo processes this information, considering his options. He realizes this might be his only chance to stop Li Gei. Inside the ship's VIP lounge, a disturbing art piece is unveiled. The ship's captain, Liu Yang, discusses business with his associates, mentioning a disturbing gift sent to a new partner. A woman named Anna Chris coolly remarks on the imaginative cruelty used to punish an uncooperative politician. Another guest, Song Hui, praises the twisted display, calling the victim's transformation a true work of art. A bishop named Zhao Yan inquires about the group's expansion plans, wondering if they're already targeting the Great Xia region. A man pledges his full cooperation with their plans, his determined footsteps echoing in the opulent lounge. An assistant interrupts, reporting that Li Gei's hunt has gone awry, as his prey transformed and is now violently overpowering him. Song Hui scoffs at the news, dismissing Li Gei as a failure who only has hunting privileges because of a mysterious benefactor. A younger man probes for information, asking about the identity of this powerful sir they all seem to answer to. The captain, impressed by this new talent, decides to intervene, not to save Li Gei, but to save face for their unseen leader. He orders his men to seal the area, unconcerned with ordinary people, and prepares to deal with the entity fighting Li Gei. The captain dismisses Chang Mo as an unknown entity and orders his swift elimination. Back on the ship's deck, The confrontation between Chang Mo and Li Ge continues under the starry sky. Chang Mo lands a solid punch, sending a powerful impact across Li Ge's face. The predator is sent sprawling to the deck, utterly defeated by the man he once hunted. Chang Mo looms over his fallen enemy, his hand glowing with deadly energy as he prepares to end the fight. Terrified, Li Ge questions if Chang Mo would dare to finish him in such a public place. With cold certainty, Chang Mo confirms his intentions, his crystalline weapon poised to strike. Panicked, Li Ge desperately begs for his life, promising to do anything to be spared. Chang Mo remains unmoved by the pleas, his hand moving to deliver the final judgment. In a last-ditch effort, Li Ge screams that he knows the true identity of Chang Mo's mother's killer. Chang Mo's crystalline weapon hovers dangerously close to Li Ge's eye. Li Ge reveals a shocking secret about Chang Mo's mother's demise. Chang Mo reacts violently to the revelation, striking Li Ge. Li Ge cries out in pain as the impact reverberates. Chang Mo demands answers about his mother's death. Li Ge begins to explain the circumstances surrounding her fate. He reveals he was forced into servitude by a powerful figure. Li Ge confesses to being manipulated into infecting others. He explains how this figure exploited him for their own gain. Chang Mo demands the identity and location of this mysterious manipulator. Li Ge desperately warns Chang Mo that killing him will bring the wrath of a powerful master. Yet his fear of this master is so great he dares not speak the name aloud. Unimpressed by the empty threats, Chang Mo's patience finally runs out. Deciding the conversation is over, he lunges to end Li Ge's life. But before he can strike, a mysterious newcomer issues a chilling command. A strange power courses through Chang Mo, his heart glowing brightly before coming to an abrupt halt. He struggles against the unseen force, his body momentarily failing him. He crumples to the deck, leaving Li Ge to stare in disbelief at his sudden salvation. A figure steps forward, his polished shoes stopping just short of the downed men. The ship's enforcer finally arrives, calmly apologizing for his delayed intervention. Li Ge, bruised and battered, looks up in disbelief. The ship's enforcer offers a chillingly polite greeting. He casually taunts Chang Mo while pressing his foot onto his head. The enforcer continues his condescending mockery of Chang Mo's defeat. Chang Mo is suddenly incapacitated by an unseen force. Li Ge watches in stunned silence, spared from certain demise. Chang Mo's associate questions the sudden turn of events. Yilai explains the enforcer used a powerful emotional ability. Chang Mo's associate questions the extent of this power. Yili explains the hierarchy of emotional power and its effects. Yili warns him that this new opponent is someone he absolutely cannot defeat in his current state. Chang Mo observes the standoff, trying to gauge the power of this mysterious enforcer. He questions why he can't see the man's monster, and Yeli explains it resides in the mind realm. She illustrates how his own monster was previously visible because it existed on the boundary between reality and this other dimension. But once an entity retreats fully into the mind realm, it becomes nearly impossible to perceive. A relieved Li Ge smirks, telling the enforcer to proceed with their plan now that his target is still alive. The enforcer turns his cold gaze on Chang Mo, issuing a powerful, unspoken command. An irresistible force slams Chang Mo to his knees, his body moving against his will. He stares in disbelief, realizing he is completely unable to resist the enforcer's power. Yilai reveals this is the power of an arrogance entity, whose commands are harder to defy the greater the power gap. The enforcer's foot presses down on Chang Mo's head, a display of dominance. The enforcer delivers a condescending blow, further humiliating Chang Mo. Chang Mo struggles against the enforcer's power, his face etched with defiance. Li Ge gloats, revealing a cruel story about Chang Mo's mother. Chang Mo's focus sharpens, demanding the full story. Li Ge recounts a specific memory of Chang Mo's mother's kindness. He describes a disturbing scene, hinting at a tragic outcome. Li Ge reveals a sinister plot involving a powerful, unnamed figure. A flashback shows Chang Mo's mother offering kindness to Li Ge. Li Ge describes his growing enjoyment of Chang Mo's suffering. Li Ge revels in the memory of his absolute power, boasting that he could decide the fate of others with a mere whim. The revelation fuels Chang Mo's resolve as he prepares to strike down his mother's tormentor. The enforcer calmly issues another command, intending to stop the fight completely. Chang Mo's attack halts mid-air, his body completely frozen by the enforcer's absolute authority. Not satisfied with just stopping him, the enforcer delivers an even more humiliating command. Against his will, Chang Mo is forced to the ground, his head impacting the deck with significant force. Even in this humiliating position, a small, defiant smile plays on Chang Mo's lips. The enforcer turns to Li Ge, instructing him to proceed with the next step of their cruel plan. Looking down on the defeated Chang Mo, the enforcer makes a demeaning offer of servitude. He then gives his final, cruel ultimatum, demanding a display of total submission in exchange for his life. The enforcer gives his final ultimatum, demanding total submission or complete annihilation. Chang Mo remains pinned to the deck, a glowing figure of forced servitude under the enforcer's watch. Yeli kneels beside him, questioning his plan, but he turns the query back on her. She calmly implies that she is the one who has been in control of this situation all along. He realizes her vast knowledge of him and the ship means she must have anticipated this very outcome. Seeing no other way out, he surrenders to her unseen influence, ready to accept any conditions she imposes. The enforcer interrupts their silent exchange, escalating the humiliation with another degrading command. Yeli observes the scene with a subtle, knowing smile, completely unfazed by the enforcer's display of power. She finally reveals her true offer. All he needs to do is accept the immense power she wields. A torrent of dark energy erupts from her, effortlessly blasting the powerful enforcer off his feet. He accepts her offer, and a torrent of cold blue energy surges through him. The overwhelming power causes crystalline structures to erupt from his head as he cries out in agony. The enforcer watches in disbelief, realizing Chang Mo's emotional power is skyrocketing to an impossible level. He mistakenly believes this surge of power has caused Chang Mo to lose all control. His consciousness is transported to a serene cosmic plane where he floats peacefully amidst the stars. He becomes a tiny speck in the vast, beautiful expanse of this newly formed mental landscape. In this new state, he finds that all his feelings, sadness, happiness, and surprise have completely disappeared. His mind is now a void of pure logic, where every action and outcome is reduced to simple calculation. Suddenly, a colossal, dark mass representing the enforcer's entity descends upon him in this mental realm. His eye widens, not with fear, but with the cold, analytical gaze of someone assessing a new variable. In his mind, his old sense of self shatters into crystalline fragments, making way for pure logic. His consciousness drifts back to a simpler time, remembering a competitive video game match with his mother. He recalls peaceful afternoons spent drawing on the floor, a quiet moment of shared creativity. A memory surfaces of his mother's effortless strength as they went about their daily lives. He remembers her playful smile as she flexed, a symbol of her unwavering spirit. But that happiness was shattered by his father's funeral, a day that drowned them both in grief. The loss left him withdrawn and sullen, a young boy lost in his own sorrow. He remembers his mother's hand on his head, a desperate attempt to offer comfort. She tried to stay strong for him, but the weight of her own pain was beginning to show. Her grief eventually erupted into uncontrollable rage, marking the beginning of her tragic transformation. He recalls his mother's desperate attempt to comfort him, her own tears mirroring his. But her sorrow quickly twisted into an uncontrollable fury directed at him. Her grief-fueled rage turned violent, lashing out at the person closest to her. The anger would always fade, leaving her consumed by regret as her son watched helplessly. The memory ends with the tragic discovery of his mother's lifeless body on the kitchen floor. Back in his mind, these painful emotions are replaced by a cold, unsettling smile. His old worldview begins to crack, symbolized by the fracturing of his glasses. His perception shatters completely, revealing a new golden eye of pure, calculated logic. He stands within his new mental cosmos, questioning this profound and emotionless state. Yili explains that his suppressed anger was the anchor that kept his consciousness from dissolving in her power. She gives him a final, paradoxical warning. To truly master rationality, he must sometimes let it go. With her lesson complete, she grants him permission to finally unleash his vengeance. Back on the ship's deck, the immense power surges through him once more, a controlled and focused transformation. The crystalline shell shatters, revealing a man reborn with cold, golden eyes and absolute clarity. A colossal pillar of blue energy erupts around him, dwarfing his two stunned adversaries. The immense power recedes just as quickly as it appeared, leaving him standing in an unnerving calm. The enforcer bursts into laughter, mocking the sudden disappearance of Chang Mo's overwhelming power. Liga, however, senses something is wrong, a flicker of doubt crossing his face. His doubt turns to terror as he realizes the horrifying truth behind the apparent calm. He understands the power hasn't vanished. It has simply become so vast, it's now imperceptible. Ligu explains the power hasn't vanished, but has become so immense it's now imperceptible. Across the city, oblivious partygoers dance, completely unaware of the cosmic shift. Suddenly, one of the dancers collapses, feeling the immense pressure ripple through the city. He stares into the distance in terror, questioning the source of this overwhelming power. In a quiet restaurant, another powerful figure pauses his meal, sensing the disturbance. The sheer force of the event causes his dinner plate to shatter with a simple cut of his knife. He realizes a world-class entity has just made a move, wondering if it's a challenge to the ship's authority. He understands this isn't just a challenge to the ship, but to the entire syndicate that runs it. Aboard the Emperor of the Sea, the ship's powerful inner circle is also alerted to the event. The captain rises, his expression turning serious as he and his associates feel the unprecedented power surge. A woman in the lounge coolly questions if this new power is truly world-class. Another associate wonders if a rival entity has boarded the ship to challenge them. A woman speculates that this newcomer might be targeting their esteemed leader. The captain stands before the window, confidently reassuring his group of their absolute authority. He declares with unwavering arrogance that even a world-class entity will fall if they dare to challenge his ship. Back on deck, the sky itself seems to warp around Chang Mo's unnervingly calm figure. The enforcer recoils in shock, unable to comprehend how Chang Mo's power level has become completely imperceptible. Liga, drenched in sweat, confirms the impossible, claiming he can still faintly sense the terrifying power. From his perspective, Chang Mo's presence feels like an overwhelming, disastrous pressure on par with the world's greatest entities. Utterly terrified by what he perceives, Liga screams for the enforcer to escape with him immediately. With cold, golden eyes, Chang Mo stands as the victor, his two adversaries now completely at his mercy. The ship's deck is now eerily quiet, with the enforcer and Liga lying defeated on the ground. Ye remarks on the unexpected ease of his victory, questioning his decisive and final actions. He expresses a chilling regret, believing his vengeance was too swift and not drawn out enough. His gaze hardens as he realizes the real battle has only just begun. Suddenly, a new presence arrives, his foot stepping onto a deck now covered in crackling, root-like energy. This mysterious figure stands amidst a vast, glowing network that has completely overtaken the ship's deck. The golden tendrils of power are revealed to be snaking up from the very heart of the colossal cruise ship. The energy culminates in a magnificent throne, where a majestic, godlike entity sits as the true ruler of the vessel. Chang Mo looks on, his expression shifting as he comprehends the true power he is now facing. Ye Lai reveals a critical detail. The ship itself is an emotional entity, explaining why it remained undamaged. She clarifies that perception is tied to power, and only by borrowing her strength can he see this hidden reality. The ship's captain stands before his majestic golden entity, the true form of the Sea Emperor. The Sea Emperor's immense power radiates across the deck, dwarfing Chang Mo with its sheer scale. The captain addresses Chang Mo with condescending authority, preparing to deliver a final judgment. He begins a powerful incantation, his voice echoing with cosmic authority. The entity's core glows as the captain declares that any offense against his domain will be met with punishment. Chang Mo observes as the captain and his monster chant in unison, a technique to amplify their power. He quickly deduces that this chant is designed to bolster the strength of the captain's commands. The Sea Emperor issues its first decree, commanding the very space around Chang Mo's entity to solidify. The Sea Emperor's power manifests as a colossal golden prison, trapping Chang Mo's entity. He declares his judgment, preparing to unleash a golden sword of divine punishment. With a final decree, he halves the emotional power of anyone caught within his domain. Countless golden blades materialize, piercing the prison in a devastating display of authority. The captain scoffs, utterly confident that his inexperienced opponent has already lost. His associates agree, mocking the newcomer for being foolish enough to let the captain finish his lengthy incantation. They conclude that with his power crippled, Chang Mo's capture is now inevitable. But a sudden sharp crack echoes through the air as a fracture appears on the golden prison. The onlookers' smug confidence shatters, their faces twisting in utter disbelief. The captain's arrogant smirk evaporates, replaced by furious shock as his ultimate attack begins to fail. The entity of rationality shatters the golden prison, its immense power breaking free. Chang Mo watches with cold golden eyes, the master of this overwhelming force. With a simple gesture, he commands his entity to unleash its full might. The colossal monster of rationality looms over the ship, its blue energy repelling the captain's attack. The captain's hand goes limp, his control over the Sea Emperor completely severed. Chang Mo's power surges forth, completely overwhelming the golden authority of the Sea Emperor. The captain can only stare in horror as his ultimate power is effortlessly dismantled. The majestic Sea Emperor entity dissolves, consumed by the cold, blue energy of pure logic. In an instant, the captain's domain is erased, leaving only the swirling power of rationality. His powerful associates are caught in the aftermath, frozen in shock by this impossible display. The captain recoils, his face a mask of disbelief as his ultimate power is neutralized. From above, the cold blue energy of rationality completely envelops the ship, crushing the golden domain. Changmo stands unfazed, his golden eyes glowing with the cold light of pure logic. The captain's mind races, questioning how this newcomer broke his shackles and what his true purpose is. He falls silent, the sheer impossibility of the situation leaving him momentarily speechless. But his shock quickly hardens into defiance, reaffirming his simple, brutal philosophy: eliminate all who oppose him. The captain bellows a command, summoning the full might of his security forces. His entity, the Sea Emperor, echoes the call, preparing to unleash its own guardians. Golden armored warriors materialize from the deck, surrounding Changmo with deadly intent. The entity of rationality clashes with the Golden Guards, its cold power meeting their divine authority head-on. The entity of rationality opens a black void at its core, drawing in the captain's golden power. The Golden Guards are effortlessly torn apart as they are pulled into the swirling vortex of cold logic. Changmo watches with cold, analytical eyes, his expression revealing absolute control over the chaos. The captain screams a desperate command, trying in vain to halt the complete annihilation of his forces. Ignoring the captain, Changmo moves with a strange, newfound grace, anticipating the next move. The remaining guards converge, their golden spears seemingly piercing Changmo from every angle. But the deadly weapons stop just short, unable to even break the fabric of his shirt. He looks down, completely unharmed, his golden eyes glowing with an untouchable power. With a single, fluid motion, he unleashes a shockwave that shatters the golden warriors into pieces. He stands calmly amidst the rain of golden fragments, the last of the captain's elite guard now destroyed. The captain lets out a silent roar of pure, unadulterated fury. Changmo stands before the full, terrifying might of his colossal entity. His opponent's eye widens, reflecting the impossible blue power that has completely overwhelmed him. He launches himself forward, a blur of motion against the backdrop of his monster's immense power. With blinding speed, he closes the distance, ready to deliver the final judgment. The captain's face contorts in terror as he realizes his reign is truly over. Changmo's golden eyes hold no pity, only the cold, hard logic of his next move. In a desperate final act, the captain is caught in the backlash of his own crumbling power. Changmo calmly directs the vortex of rationality, preparing to erase his opponent completely. His crystalline hand tears through the captain's defenses, shattering his authority into nothing. The captain's divine weapons are effortlessly shattered by the cold, crystalline power of rationality. The two opponents are caught in a cosmic dance of destruction, surrounded by the remnants of the captain's shattered army. The once mighty Sea Emperor is humbled, dwarfed by the sheer scale of rationality's overwhelming presence. But the immense power surge fades, leaving Changmo visibly drained and vulnerable. The captain seizes on this apparent weakness, his confidence surging as he prepares for a counterattack. He plots to corner his opponent on the ship, aiming to capture him alive and uncover the secrets of his power for the Syndicate. But Yeli suddenly appears with a grim warning. The immense power she lent him is almost completely exhausted. With no time to waste, she yanks him by a chain, forcing a desperate retreat across the deck. She directs their escape, pulling him over the railing and into a desperate plunge toward the sea. The captain stares in disbelief, baffled by their choice to flee into the treacherous, monster-infested waters. He plummets into the dark, churning abyss of the Donghai waters. His eyes widen, not with fear, but with a sudden, startling realization. Below him, a colossal, slumbering monster stirs in the depths, its true form revealed. His golden eye reflects this new, terrifying reality, the true nature of the sea. The shock gives way to a cold, analytical focus as he processes the impossible sight. He realizes he's not just falling into water, but crossing a boundary into another world. This world is a hunting ground, where monstrous entities loom over the city like dark gods. The very ground is a graveyard of countless souls, their despair reaching for the sky. Above, the sky warps into a cosmic battlefield, where strange, powerful beings patrol a swirling vortex. He finally understands. The city exists on a terrifying intersection between multiple hostile dimensions. He realizes his long-held belief that everyone was sick was a profound understatement. The truth is so overwhelming it causes him physical pain, his eyes bleeding from the strain. The sheer weight of this new reality crushes him, forcing an agonized scream from his lips. He understands it's not just the people who are twisted and broken. The entire world, from the sea to the sky, is a corrupted, nightmarish system. Back on the ship, the captain watches his foes plummet toward the dark, churning water below. He notices the blood streaming from Changmo's eyes, baffled by this bizarre reaction. The captain deduces that Chang Mo's power is borrowed, as his body is too weak to handle the truth he now sees. Believing his opponent is now crippled, the captain unleashes a final decisive attack. Yeli shields him, warning that while he can perceive these truths with her power, his mind isn't ready to bear them. As they plummet towards the dark sea, Yeli offers to take control of his body to survive. The captain's golden warriors unleash a final devastating volley, intending to obliterate them mid-air. But with Yeli's guidance, Changmo embraces her power, a confident smirk spreading across his face. The entity of rationality dives headfirst into the sea, its power creating a cataclysmic impact. The captain can only stare in utter disbelief as his final attack is met with an impossible counter. A colossal shadowy form rises from the depths, dwarfing the captain's golden guardians. He screams in terror, realizing his opponent can somehow command the corrupted power of the Black Sea itself. The dark, overwhelming force of the sea crashes down, completely swallowing his golden entity. The immense effort leaves Chang Mo on his hands and knees, the borrowed power clearly taking its toll. Yeli appears by his side, her concern met with his strained but determined reassurance. He looks up in shock as his glasses, a symbol of his old self, begin to crack. Reaching for his face, he realizes his glasses have completely vanished. Yili explains his glasses represent his rationality, which will return once his emotions are back in check. He struggles to comprehend the true nature of his city and the world he thought he knew. She reveals the world has been this way for a long time, but his previous weakness blinded him to the truth. The supposed oil spill in Donghai was a lie to cover up the sea's corruption by a powerful emotion body. Years ago, a world-class depression entity lost control, becoming the Black Sea and sinking an entire fleet. She clarifies that the world is now ruled by these entities, with Donghai City being home to several, including the Sea Emperor. Yili then turns her attention to the sky, ready to identify the final piece of this terrifying puzzle. She reveals the strange presence looming over the city is the disembodied entity of envy. Changmo struggles to comprehend the scale of these new revelations. Yele explains his mind is too fragile to grasp the full, horrifying truth of their world. He realizes that what he once called emotional illness is merely a symptom of a much larger cosmic horror. She tells him that by saving him, she has also cursed him with this knowledge, destroying any chance of a normal life. She asks if he resents her for dragging him into this new, dangerous reality. His mind flashes back through the chaotic battles that brought him to this point. After a moment of reflection, his expression shifts to one of calm acceptance. He admits that despite her hidden motives, he feels an exhilarating sense of purpose. He describes this terrifying awakening not as a curse, but as a rebirth. Now fully committed, he finally asks her to reveal her true identity and ultimate goal. Yeli offers a cryptic smile, finally ready to explain her true nature. She reveals she is a wandering spirit, adrift in a vast, lonely existence. For years, she moved through the city, completely invisible and unheard by anyone. As her power withered, her memories fractured, leaving her with only a name. She compares her fading existence to a wildfire slowly running out of fuel. Her essence was destined to flicker out, disappearing into the darkness completely. But her fate changed the moment she laid eyes on Chang Mo. A flashback shows their first meeting, where he was the only one who could perceive her. She declares that he alone possesses the strength to bear the weight of her power. He is the furnace to her wildfire, the anchor that prevents her from being extinguished. Yi Lai explains her every action, from posing as a colleague to helping him, was a calculated move. She grabs his shoulder with fierce intent, promising to help him acquire all the power and status he could ever want. In return, he must grow strong enough to face the mysterious, powerful entity looming in the sky. She reveals a crucial part of her own being is trapped within that celestial secret, driving her quest. Extending a hand, she formally reintroduces herself, marking this moment as a rebirth for them both. Changmo stares at her hand, his glasses reflecting the light as he considers the monumental pact. A small, confident smile forms on his lips, signaling his quiet acceptance of this new reality. They shake hands on a tranquil shore, sealing their alliance as a new dawn breaks over the water. Meanwhile, two mysterious figures on a boat observe the cruise ship, having easily found their person of interest. A file reveals their target is Chang Mo, noting his sudden shift from an ordinary person to a powerful entity. The woman finds his rapid power-up impossible, even though his strength rivals the Sea Emperor. Her hooded companion correctly deduces that Chang Mo's power must be borrowed. He points out how Chang Mo's body reacted poorly to the power, proving it wasn't his own to command. Intrigued by a force that can control the Black Sea, she wonders about the identity of his powerful backer. She decides to stall the captain's request, brushing off the investigation to get some rest. Her associate questions if they're giving up on tracking down their target. She confidently declares that with her family's influence, neither Changmo nor his benefactor will escape their grasp. Her resolve hardens as she vows to seize this incredible power for her own master. The scene shifts to a peaceful landscape as a new plan is considered. Changmo resolves to find the mysterious adult who orchestrated his mother's death, as Ye Li warns of the danger ahead. Ye Li warns that the true architect of his mother's demise is a shadowy figure far beyond his current ability to challenge. She insists their priority is to find shelter, as her power is nearly spent, and the ship's forces are undoubtedly hunting them. Changmo understands that his unique power has made him a target, attracting the kind of attention that drives others to madness. Amidst the gravity of their situation, Changmo is suddenly struck by a far more mundane and urgent concern. He remembers he's late for work, only to then recall that his entire project team was wiped out, making his tardiness a moot point. His mind spirals into the practicalities of being fired, losing his income, and how he'll manage to survive. Ye Li stares at him in stunned silence, baffled by his sudden shift from cosmic warrior to worried employee. Changmo falls quiet, the absurdity of his own thoughts finally catching up with him. He looks up with grim acceptance, realizing that his old life is now completely and irrevocably gone. A subtle, knowing smile touches Ye Li's lips, sensing he has finally embraced his new path. Ye Li leads Changmo towards a modern complex, announcing they have finally arrived at the shelter. They enter a waiting room, greeted by the bewildered and vacant stares of the current residents. He skeptically eyes the seemingly ordinary patients, questioning if this is truly the sanctuary she described. The building is revealed to be the Donghai City Second Psychiatric Hospital. Ye Li warns him not to underestimate the place, explaining it's an official government institution. She reveals the government is the city's most powerful force and would likely recruit an entity like him. She adds with a sly look that there is more to this hospital than meets the eye. Ye Li reveals that one of the colossal entities he witnessed is secretly guarding this very hospital. The ordinary waiting room now seems far more ominous with the knowledge of what lurks unseen. To blend in, Changmo calmly goes through the admission process, handing a sample to a nurse. Changmo observes the waiting room, noting the strange lack of visible emotional afflictions among the patients. His eyes land on a single exception, a man with a glowing, colorful sack on his head, laughing uncontrollably. Ye Li explains that his enhanced perception now allows him to see beyond the sacks of anger he was used to. She identifies the man's condition as an infection from the happiness virus, which traps its host in a state of euphoria. Taking in this new knowledge, Changmo calmly greets a fellow patient sitting nearby. A shy-looking individual with hair covering their eyes leans in, curiously asking if he's also there for a checkup. After he confirms, they express surprise, remarking that he appears perfectly normal. Changmo coolly turns the observation back on them, suggesting they seem just as normal as he does. The patient erupts defensively, insisting they are perfectly fine and were forced to come by their parents. They reveal their parents blackmailed them into the visit, fearing the recent plague of emotional illnesses. The patient shares what they've heard online. This hospital is for the most severe cases, divided into an A and B section. They continue, claiming Section B houses extremely dangerous individuals who must be kept in chains. Ye Li clarifies the distinction. Section A is for the infected, while Section B is for fully transformed emotion bodies. Changmo questions why they're here, and the patient admits it's just to get rejected and appease their family. With a confident smile, they assert that a high-security facility like this would never admit someone so normal. A nurse begins reading results, referring two other patients to a less specialized hospital for their checkups. Another patient is simply given a prescription, reacting with a burst of unnerving glee. The patient points this out as proof, certain that two normal people like them will surely be sent home. But the nurse calls both Changmo and the patient's name, instructing them to proceed with admission. The patient's smug confidence instantly shatters into a look of pure, unadulterated shock. The patient's denial shatters, unable to comprehend why they were admitted to the high-security hospital. A nurse leads them onto the grounds, cheerfully praising their wise decision to come voluntarily. She continues her sales pitch, comparing the facility to a luxury resort with gourmet meals. Identified as Nurse Jo Young, she offers a reassuring smile while the other patient spirals in the background. The patient panics, questioning if they are truly abnormal enough to be institutionalized here. The nurse calmly dismisses their fears, suggesting that everyone has issues and early treatment is for the best. Changmo realizes the nurse is also an entity, wondering how a simple blood test could expose them. Yili theorizes it's due to a specific property of emotion bodies, but admits she doesn't know the exact science. They approach a stark, imposing building that resembles a high-security prison more than a place of healing. From a guard tower high above, a watchful eye observes the new arrivals being escorted across the grounds. The other patient's face contorts in sudden, dawning horror. They realize they're being led to Section B, the rumored ward for the most dangerous individuals. Grabbing the nurse, they frantically plead their case, insisting they've never hurt anyone. The nurse calmly dismisses their panic, brushing off the rumors as sensationalized nonsense for online views. The patient hesitates, desperately wanting to believe her reassuring words. With a serene smile, the nurse confirms that everything will be perfectly fine. But the patient's fear returns as they notice a disturbing detail about the staff. They point out with growing terror that the nurses are all armed with handguns. High above, a sniper from the guard tower tracks their every move through a high-powered scope. The guard's focus is absolute, his finger resting near the trigger, ready to enforce the hospital's strict rules. Changmo wonders if the nurse and the guards have noticed the other patient's escalating panic. His enhanced sight reveals the patient's true form, a writhing, terrified entity made of countless cosmic eyes. He questions the grim fate of patients who are rejected by the authorities. Yali warns him not to act rashly, implying that dangerous individuals are simply eliminated. The sniper's scope remains fixed on them, a constant lethal reminder of the hospital's rules. A close-up reveals the nurse is concealing a handgun, confirming the patient's worst fears. The guard's finger hovers near the trigger, ready to enforce order at a moment's notice. Changmo takes a moment, calmly processing the deadly reality of his new sanctuary. He suddenly reaches out, placing a firm hand on the panicking patient's shoulder. With a reassuring smile, he advises them to calm down, warning that their fear could be mistaken for a threat. He uses his power of rationality to suppress the other patient's chaotic emotional entity. The terrified entity of eyes dissolves under his influence, leaving the patient stunned. Snapping out of their panic, the patient apologizes, still dazed from the experience. The nurse stares in disbelief, shocked that someone on the verge of an outburst could be stabilized so quickly. She lets out a quiet sigh of relief, the immediate threat now seemingly neutralized. Yili questions his compassion, but he explains it's a calculated move to avoid being labeled a threat. Despite the calm, the nurse's expression hardens as she issues a sharp command into her communicator. The other patient is suddenly struck down by an unseen force, collapsing to the ground. Changmo watches the patient fall without a hint of surprise, his expression cold and analytical. With the patient now unconscious, the nurse calmly stands over them, the situation officially under control. Changmo watches the scene unfold, his expression remaining unnervingly neutral. Yela chides him for his lack of reaction, calling him cold-blooded for his composure. Kneeling beside the fallen patient, he reflects on how numb he has become to such events. He quickly assesses the situation, deducing the patient was neutralized with a tranquilizer, not a lethal shot. Despite his cold exterior, he lets out a quiet sigh of relief. Yili praises his intentions but criticizes his slow response, prompting a silent vow from him to be faster next time. A medical team arrives to take the unconscious patient away, labeling them a high-risk case. He watches them go, wondering about the grim fate that awaits a high-risk individual in this facility. The nurse turns to him with a disarming smile, impressed by his calm and offering an on-the-spot evaluation. His gaze sharpens as he considers her offer, realizing this is his first test in this new environment. The nurse begins her evaluation, questioning why he would voluntarily seek out a mental hospital. Changmo decides to be direct, explaining his unique perception and powers to prove his value to the authorities. He calmly accepts that demonstrating his strength comes with inherent risks. To test her, he manifests a crystalline energy, feigning it's a hallucination he needs her to confirm. The nurse's eyes widen in utter shock, her professional composure completely shattered. Regaining her calm, she acknowledges his power is unexpected and must be reported to her superiors. But instead of a report, she gives a covert command into her communicator to neutralize him. Changmo's eyes narrow as he realizes the sudden, imminent threat. An unseen force strikes him, sending him flying backward. He hits the ground hard, taken down by the same tranquilizer that felled the other patient. The nurse expresses relief, praising the sniper for his perfect shot while admitting the day's events have rattled her. The sniper responds with a confident smile, but questions why they needed to neutralize someone who appeared so calm. She explains that his calm demeanor was the most terrifying part, revealing she spotted a crucial clue on the surveillance footage. With a serious expression, she reveals the truth. Changmo was talking to someone who wasn't there, a sign of a dangerous alternate personality. She concludes he's a master of an unknown power, able to use it without manifesting an entity, making him an immediate and severe threat. Having assessed the danger, she gives the order to have his unconscious body moved. But before her team can act, Changmo begins to push himself up from the ground, defying the tranquilizer. He rises to his hands and knees, looking directly at the stunned nurse who can't believe her eyes. The nurse recoils in pure shock, dropping her clipboard as she struggles to comprehend how he resisted the powerful sedative. High in the tower, the sniper's confidence evaporates into panic as he frantically reports that the target is back on his feet. The entire hospital erupts into a level 1 alert, its alarms blaring across the compound. Boots thunder across the pavement as security forces mobilize with urgent speed. From above, armed guards take up positions, completely surrounding the courtyard. Eli reveals she was the one who woke him, needing him conscious for what comes next. Changmo's gaze hardens, his mind already calculating his next move. But instead of fighting, he drops to his knees and throws his hands up in surrender. The nurse is left speechless, completely thrown off by his sudden compliance. Even the elite snipers are baffled, their professional calm shattered by the unexpected turn of events. With his hands now bound in heavy chains, the nurse finally believes the situation is under control. She explains the chains suppress his abilities, smugly declaring him no different than an ordinary person. Changmo examines his restraints, wondering if they truly suppress emotional power as intended. But instead of feeling weaker, he senses an endless stream of power flowing into him from the very chains meant to bind him. Yeli appears beside him, intrigued by this strange turn of events where he's absorbing the chain's energy. She explains the metal is infected with rational emotions, which is why it suppresses other powers but fuels his. She concludes that what serves as a prison for others is actually a power-up for him. The scene shifts to the Donghai City Emotional Management Bureau, a sleek and imposing government building. Inside, Director Q Weiming reports over the phone that he's located Changmo, who is now a patient in Section B. On the other end of the line, the mysterious Miss Song learns the hospital is under the director's control, who eagerly promises to retrieve Changmo for her. With the information secured, she coolly ends the call, her plan already in motion. She smiles, pleased with how smoothly things are going, and notes with interest that Changmo is quite handsome. In a disturbing pink room, Miss Song prepares to interrogate the captured Director Q, who is restrained and surrounded by unsettling stuffed bunnies. She reveals her cruel desire to see him broken, wanting to witness his pain and despair firsthand. Back at the hospital, the patient with the eye entity struggles to contain their overwhelming curiosity. Their entity erupts in a chaotic mass of eyes as they lose control, much to Nurse Joe's horror. A second nurse, Kobayashi, rushes in with a sedative, shouting that her colleague is in danger. But Nurse Joe hesitates, hoping the patient can regain control through their own willpower. The patient's outburst continues, their swirling eye entity questioning the morality of their obsessive thoughts. Realizing the situation is escalating, Nurse Joe abandons her plan and orders the immediate use of the sedative. Nurse Kobayashi nervously agrees, preparing to administer the tranquilizer to the out-of-control patient. But in her haste, she fumbles, dropping the vital syringe and losing their chance to subdue the patient. Nurse Joe furiously scolds her colleague for the critical error, questioning her competence. The patient's chaotic eye entity lunges forward, reaching for the stunned Nurse Joe. A new doctor, Lu Tingye, calmly intervenes, urging the patient to regain control or lose what they cherish most. Head nurse Yan Bei watches as Dr. Lu expresses her unwavering faith in the patient's willpower. The doctor's words strike a chord, causing the eye entity to recoil in a final agonizing struggle. With a final push, the patient successfully suppresses the entity, its cosmic eyes dissolving from their face. The medical team sighs in relief as the patient, Xiao Jiaqi, sits calmly, having overcome the episode. A flashback reveals her condition is a clairvoyant obsession, allowing her to watch a handsome man she once saw. The patient awkwardly explains her strange ability to Changmo, who listens with quiet curiosity. Dr. Lu then addresses Changmo, reviewing his file which notes his immense power, but dismisses it as him just talking to himself. The doctor reviews his file, classifying his power as a new emotional type with a medium danger level. She reassures him that he seems stable, but the power-suppressing chains must remain for now. Her attention shifts to another patient, a pink-haired young man she deems far more troublesome. This patient, Chenju, appears perfectly normal aside from an abnormal blood test. But a manic grin spreads across Chenju's face as he realizes he's not like other people. Dr. Lu sighs, classifying him as another unknown emotional body, albeit a low-risk one. Changmo silently questions if the boy's condition is a form of idiocy manifesting as an emotion. Meanwhile, Xiaojaki celebrates her newfound superpower of voyeurism, thrilled with her diagnosis. The doctor sternly reminds her that all emotional bodies are unstable and control is the only thing that matters. She then proudly explains the hospital's role as a government bureau dedicated to managing these powerful entities. The doctor explains that all emotional bodies are subject to government control and must follow the law. She warns him that the bureau is far less forgiving than the hospital, and he's lucky to be in their care. Just as she offers him more information, a nurse interrupts with an urgent call, pulling the doctor away. Left alone in the ward, Changmo settles in with a book while Yeli floats nearby, observing the other patients. Yeli confirms that the hospital is part of the official Emotional Management Bureau, a fact that piques Changmo's interest. He reads the Bureau's official act, learning of their absolute authority to manage, treat, and punish emotional bodies. The strict rules make him question the system's integrity, wondering why a known criminal like Liu Jia remains free. Yeli explains the harsh reality. The Bureau is rife with corruption, and Liu Jia's freedom is proof of powerful hidden connections. She reveals the police investigation into his mother's death was shut down after being handed over to the Bureau. The horrifying truth clicks into place. His mother's killer is protected by the very organization now holding him captive. He lies in his hospital bed, questioning if their situation is completely hopeless. Changmo turns to Yeli, reminding her that she was the one who suggested this place. She admits her memories are fragmented, but insists bringing him here was a calculated risk. Yeli urges him to trust her past self's judgment and focus on absorbing the chain's power. The scene transitions to a peaceful sky, hinting at a shift in location. Elsewhere, a steaming cup of coffee is prepared with care. An assistant offers the drink to a man identified as the director, telling him to take his time. The director calmly takes a sip, seemingly unaware of any impending trouble. In a sudden, violent spasm, he shatters the cup, his body reacting to an unseen force. His assistant watches in horror as the director slumps in his chair, asking what's wrong. The doctor coolly challenges the director, who furiously gestures for her to look at the mess she's made. Outside, two nurses eavesdrop, lamenting how the director always berates the doctor during her visits. One nurse explains the director outranks their dean and controls the hospital's funding, leaving them powerless. The nurses observe that despite his position, the director treats Dr. Liu with contempt, leaving her trembling with fear. He furiously reveals that the hospital admitted Changmo, the very man who attacked the Sea Emperor's vessel. The director continues his tirade, questioning if she understands the diplomatic crisis she has just caused. He takes a sharp breath, trying to regain his composure after his outburst. With a menacing glare, he demands she hand over Changmo immediately or face his wrath. Defeated, Dr. Liu kneels on the floor amidst the scattered papers as the director looms over her. He internally smirks, believing he has finally scared her into submission. A single drop of red suddenly splatters onto the director's shoulder. He touches the spot, dismissing the strange occurrence as a momentary illusion. But then a torrent of red liquid pours over his head, leaving him stunned and horrified. He frantically looks around, only to find the room pristine and the liquid vanished, deepening his confusion. The director's mind races, trying to comprehend the bizarre and unsettling event. The terrifying vision returns with a vengeance, his eyes wide with fear as the red streams down again. His office transforms into a crimson prison, with streaks of red energy trapping him from all sides. The red light intensifies, pooling at his feet as he stands paralyzed by the overwhelming power. The source of the terrifying illusion is revealed to be Dr. Liu, who stands calmly amidst the chaos she has created. She slowly rises, admitting her fear, but with a look that promises she is far from defeated. Her eyes blaze a terrifying red as she warns him that she's losing control and might just end him.